Guys, welcome once again to In Conversation With. My name is Nomcebo Msane, your host, and as you know, every time when I get to sit down with someone, it's always going to be about empowering you. We were just talking just now about what this whole thing is about. So without wasting any more time, please help me welcome my guest for today, Mr. Tshin Liphosa.
Tshin Liphosa.
Tshin
Liphosa.
Liphosa.
It's actually Chinyazo.
I wanted
Full
him
name.
to teach me his name because he did
Chinyazo.
tell me his name, and I was like, "Oh, guys, the Zulu in us and
Yeah.
our tongue is so frustrating." So please teach me how to say your name.
Chinyazo.
Chinyazo
Liphosa.
Liphosa. Ah, the surname is easy.
Very easy.
Chinyazo.
Yes.
Guys, help me welcome Chinyazo. What does it mean?
Chinyazo. Direct translation.
Yes.
Linyazo. I don't know if in Zulu, I don't know what you call it in Zulu, but
Okay.
Kasotho ke Linyazo.
Okay.
But the way the name came about in my culture, kukore Khalema Linyazo.
Oh,
I don't know how to say it
okay.
in Zulu.
Listen, I know that in African languages, direct translation is never a good option.
Exactly.
So you want to
Exactly.
understand the background and
Yes,
the meaning
the
of
context
where
of
it
the
came
word.
from.
Yes,
Ah,
so Chinyazo comes from that.
I love it. So
Yes.
thank you so much for taking your time to sit down with us. You are a speaker, a teacher, a coach. Basically, you are doing your part in changing other people's lives. Please tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I am a life coach, and I think, I've heard titles where people say an accidental coach.
Okay.
I think that pretty much describes how I got into doing what I'm doing. It was not a set career, Uguti, I'm going to be a life coach.
Okay,
One day I'll be a
okay.
speaker. No, I think the events of my life kind of led me to becoming a coach, and I think discover at some point in your life, Uguti, oh, actually, when you look back into your life
You're like,
and
I
you
can-
see
I can
Uguti,
do something with this.
it makes sense.
Yes.
Actually, Uguti, yonke into that I did actually
Mm.
fits into the mold of this person that
Person that I'm
uncovering.
becoming.
Every day.
Love
It's not mysterious anymore.
Mm.
And that's when it was like, oh, there could be something to this.
Yes.
Because of the liberation obviously that
Yes.
brings. And I was like, I could maybe try and help people
Yes.
to get to that point where they can look back and understand Uguti, why that happened. Because
Why am I going through what I'm going
yes,
through?
because I think a lot of people
Uh-huh.
have the thing of looking back, but actually I was not meant to be a doctor. I was supposed to be a writer or musician and all that. But when you get to that point where you can look back and you say, oh, I know why that happened. Actually, that was the only option that I actually had. I think I had options, but I took the best
This
one.
is what I took.
Yes,
and I took
it's
the
what
best.
it's what was meant to happen. And
Yes,
once
I
you
like that
click on
power.
that, I think the power that it brings to you, Uguti, to be able to sit on a truth, because a lot of things that we look back to is blue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that people look at and there's confusion, there's pain, frustration, and all kinds of things. But once you get to a point where you can cultivate that ability to sit on a
Look
truth,
beyond the pain.
yes, and sit on it, because clinging so is very powerful.
Yeah.
And a lot of people avoid the truth of something, looking at
Yes.
something truthfully and actually sit
Seeing what
on
it
the
really
truth,
is.
because it gives you the control. It's almost like the
Yeah.
difference between flying with autopilot
Yes.
and just whatever the plane does, it does. I'll
It
just sit here and
does.
I'll react to that. Or you take over the
control.
reins and then you say,
Yeah.
I will make this plane do what I want to do. So Mautala with truth, it gives you that control.
Wow.
But it's not easy. You have to cultivate a culture of actually doing that. And
It's a
being honest.
day-to-day progress, actually.
It's a day to day. It's a day to day, and you need to see the value of authenticity.
Yes.
Which if something happens, like if you get into a scuffle with someone,
Yes.
like I would get into a scuffle with my wife, and she would say something, I would be so offended.
Like-
I'd be so.
Speaking in love.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then, so I used the tools to get to a point where I was like, but Chin, come on, think carefully. What just happened?
Yes.
Tell the truth, and then I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why that got to me is because it touched something in me that's very sensitive.
And Shem, she
You know?
doesn't even know
No.
that thing that she's saying can touch that sensitive part.
Exactly.
I get you.
So you get
I
to a
get
point where
you.
you say, the reason why that touched me is because I have an insecurity around that thing, and it invoked a lot of insecurities in me about things in my past that I haven't really dealt with.
So now you guys are no longer arguing about what you guys
are
arguing about.
No, it's not even about the water that's on the table anymore.
The table,
you know what I mean? Or whatever
you.
She said. It's my own thing. So to be able to reflect like that, which is not easy. I think a lot of people shy away from into a room because when somebody has said something and you're offended, it's very hard to sit on top of an offense and say actually, but how did I contribute to this thing? Is it something in me? It's very hard.
I can imagine.
So once I used these tools, I was able to do that, and the freedom, the power that you get, and Uguti, you don't always need to solve everything, but when you can see the truth of it, that half the job is done. You actually feel better, and you go, oh, now that I know Uguti, she touched me in my studio. When she said that, you know, that's why.
Then I know what needs to be cleaned in the studio.
You know what I mean? Yes, and already that just, then I can think clearly and I can go to her and say, you know, I'm so sorry. Because Nami, I responded obviously out of hurt, and you say things that could hurt another person.
When someone offends you, that's automatic war.
Exactly.
We are fighting.
Exactly.
What you're coming back with is you now trying to make sure that I offend you as much or even worse than how you offended me.
Or make you see
it's a
what
defense.
You've done.
It's a defense.
I want you to see that you've hurt
me. And I can
want
show you that I can.
That you've hurt me.
And I'm going to show you that I can hurt you even worse.
Exactly.
It's so bad. So tell me, with all of that discovery and knowledge that you discovered, I like how you're explaining how you got into being a coach. You discovered it. It's not like it was penned down as your career choice. It's the experiences and the knowledge and the empowerment that you've got from your story and your experiences, and you're like, I can help someone with that. I truly believe that for me, that's what makes a coach. That's what makes a speaker. That's what makes someone who is able to help other people. Some things in your life, you're going through them so that they can help somebody else.
Absolutely.
So with all of that, how did you say now, okay, fine, I'm going to channel this into coaching? Take me to the practicality of it. What do you do? Who are the people that you mostly help? And why those people?
You know, one of the major things I discovered, a lot of people that I get to help are people like me. You know, when you focus from, let me find something to say and people to help. And you're like, just help yourself. I said this, I was like, you are the audience. Focus on that. There's a lot of people who are just like you, who have the same interests as you, who have the same problems that you have. If you focus on talking to Tshin, you're going to help a lot of people in a very powerful way. Instead of trying to cook something up that
now
you think
we
is
are
needed
living in the
world.
days of creating content.
Exactly.
Now you're turning things upside down. You're losing the audacity of what you are trying to do.
And the power, because when you are saying it from that place, because you know what you're saying, you know what you're talking to yourself, because every day you're evolving. You are learning new things every day. You are learning more about yourself. You are learning new ways of solving your own problems, because they don't end. They don't end. There's no time where you're going to wake up and go, oh, I got it figured out. Nothing gets to me anymore. I don't go. I'm not down. No one can say anything.
I'm just oozing through.
No. And even if that would happen, that would be so miserable after a while. Because now you're sitting there going, I know everything. There's nothing challenging me now. I'm bored. You will be so bored.
Stuff.
Exactly. So this is how it is, Uguti. You are learning every day. So you are your patient. In a way. So once I adopted that for me, it helped me quite a lot, because I looked at my life and I was like, I think I had no choice but to become a life coach, because of the way the events in my life kind of happened and what I discovered about myself, the way I problem solve. Oh, okay. It was leading to this. And the reason why I journal, because one of the things I do was I journal. And for the longest time, I just did that. I didn't really know why I'm doing this. I was like, you know what? There's something.
It's doing something.
Yes, and it came out of a suggestion that somebody said to me, because I was like, hey, I have trouble sleeping. I have insomnia, man. This is something that I've had for
years.
I
just to my mind.
I think of all kinds of things. And you know what he said to me? He said, just try to write down whatever it is that's on your mind as it is. Don't edit, don't do anything.
Don't make it creative.
I kid you not. Day one, the first night, I wrote what was going on in my head. Boom. Slept like a baby. I was like, oh, that was the thing. And then it just became a thing. It started off as a cure for insomnia.
Yes.
And then it ended up being a journal.
Yes.
And I haven't stopped writing ever since. And that became such a catalyst for me, my journals, to be able to reflect back and see how I've developed. And one of the incidents that happened that made me go, hey, maybe I could help someone with this. I was having one of those days. I think it was one of the worst ones for me. It was so bad. I had no idea what to do.
What to do?
Why don't you go back to your journal and read
it?
Just since you write every day, all the time, and I never go back to go read my stuff, and I said, just read. And I went and I read. It took me 10 minutes, and I was like, wow, I feel better. This actually helped me channel my thoughts and help me deal with this thing that I was, you know what I mean? It came from me. This thing that I was like, if this can help me, and I'm so difficult to help because I'm stubborn, you know what I mean? And I'm very opinionated about things, and I was like, if anything can help me, come on.
Surely it would be easier to help
I think
others.
I can help people with this thing.
Yeah.
And then a seed was planted, Uguti. Hey, this could go somewhere. This is not just journaling.
Yes.
And then I started doing a bit of research around life coaching, and obviously my life was also happening.
Yes.
I was into sports. See, for me, that's where it came out. I was always that physical sports guy.
But coaching other kids?
No, not even. No, I didn't even like people. I did not like people. I was afraid of people.
Okay.
But my go-to thing was sports.
Sports. Okay.
And I excelled in sports. And the way I did the sports thing is that I did the one-man sports thing. I was a runner. I was doing athletics. I was jumping. I was throwing things. But it was a one-man show, and I knew, Uguti, there's no one here to blame when anything happens but me. So I developed that discipline, one-man show thing. I put the work and I see the results. So you kind of develop that thing. You would see, okay, there's a relationship between effort and results.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I learned that. And then from that, I went and I played tennis as well, which was another one-man sport. And then I was like, oh, okay, it's different from running, because now there's another person that you can influence. So I learned different strategies now of winning and getting results. It does involve another person.
Yeah, you need people.
Yes, so I learned a lot of that, but I already had the discipline because I was taking sports very seriously.
Very seriously.
And then it was when I did a team sport. I started playing basketball. And now all of a sudden I'm in that zone now where I'm like,
it's no longer about
there's 4 other people here
me.
Sometimes who don't take this thing serious, and sometimes I can play hard and then we lose and then I'm upset and all that. So I had to relearn what winning was. And Uguti, this is a team thing. So how do you navigate winning in a team? So I learned, Uguti, you have to kind of invest in the other people and say, and then when you're good at this thing, you should do that more.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to win, and at first it was to win. Uguti, when I see your strength, I see your strength, I see your strength, I see your strength. Speak into the person's strength. And then I saw the difference it made to the people when I would speak into their strength. I was like, oh, so there's power in motivation.
There is. There's nothing like somebody else telling you how good you are at something. We tell ourselves, like you stand in the mirror, you're like, I got this. And you believe it, and it helps you to a certain level.
Absolutely.
But when somebody else comes up and says, actually,
it's powerful.
So there is so much power in motivation. I get you.
So the seed was planted now. Maybe I could do something with this.
Yeah.
And then I would get motivated also by them. They would say, man, well done. when you did that, you know. I was like, oh wow.
Man,
This is
you told me to just hold it like this.
You know what I mean? And then
yeah.
I saw Uguti, the team thing also, that you can leverage teamwork.
Yeah.
Because I was a loner. And for me, excellence was something that I just did on my own. I was like, oh, Kanti, you can
achieve
cultivate
excellence
this
in
thing
a group.
And this is how you do it. People. Then I learned Uguti, people respond to encouragement.
Yes.
You know, and that's when I was like, oh, maybe I could learn to coach Nyana. Since I've only just played sports, maybe I should learn, because I was like, coaching is not my thing, guys. I don't know if I want to talk to people, but that encouragement that I used to do to people and seeing the results, I was like, oh, maybe I could do this.
That, yes.
And that's how I got into youth leadership.
Yes.
At church, you know, and it was like, hey, do you want to do youth stuff for us? And I was like, okay, yeah, I think it would be nice to encourage young people to come and play sport on a Saturday and not go drink. Yeah. That's what I thought I was going to do, just encourage these kids to come and play sport and enjoy sport. And every now and then sit with a guy and say, no, man, if you want to be a better soccer player, you know, this is how it is. Yeah, that's what it was in the beginning. And I think in doing that, a leader was born in me. You know, from really not liking people, being afraid of everything, never seeing myself as a leader. Now I was able to use something that I was good at to build the leader in me. You know, and I knew this would put me in a position to do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have voluntarily have gone into a position of leadership. But I needed to say, Chin, put yourself in a place where you'll be forced to do indoor sabbath. Just keep doing it. Just you know what I mean? So that whole thing then opened that thing, because young people have issues that they go through on a daily. You know what I mean? You think you're just doing soccer with the kids and sports and all kinds of things. And 1, 2, 3, now people are sitting down and say, hey man, something's going on at home. You know what I mean? Something's going on at school. There's drugs and all kinds of things.
In the face.
All of a sudden now I'm this guy now who's now speaking
into
everything. The young people and, you know, playing it like, you know, this is I think encouraging. So it was a different way to encourage a person. It was not sports. Let's perform, let's be the best. But I also learned to speak to someone's heart. Yeah. When someone is hurting,
everything else will just fall into place.
When someone is hurting, you can speak into their heart. I didn't really know what I was doing, but one of the really important things I learned is that sometimes people want to be heard and want to be seen, you know, and accepted for who they are. And whatever mistake they're telling you they've made, they don't want somebody to just, you know what I mean? Yes. And I was like, oh, there's something to this listening, to being heard. People actually want to be heard. People.
I'll tell you something about us women. We would speak to anyone.
Me, please.
We would speak to anyone who will listen. I think the one thing that we've got, I believe we've got right, is we're not shy with sharing how we feel.
Yeah.
I would meet a stranger before I could even know their name. We're already going in deep, talking about something. Is it the same for men and
Absolutely
young boys?
Not.
I thought as much. So how do we break this shell? Because I'll tell you why I'm asking this, because we grew up in societies that were saying you must be strong, you must just, you know, soldier on, bury those feelings. And you can attest to this. We've seen the results of that. We are going through a lot in some of the things, and I believe it's the results of those teachings. Not to say the teachings that they gave us were not right. They were good for a certain time. I think now with the times that we are living in, I no longer believe that you expressing how you are feeling about something is a weakness. Because you're a man, you can't cry, you can't feel hurt, you can't feel confused. You must always have it all together. So how do we break that barrier, especially when it comes to men and young men in terms of empowerment? There's even sayings that there's so many empowerment events for women and less for men. How do we fix that?
I think it's a tricky one. I think also with guys especially. I'll speak for the guys.
Please.
Also when I was a youth leader, I did see the difference between the girls and the youth.
Yes.
And the boys. You know, girls were very much like, I can cry.
Proudly.
I can cry in front of Chin and say stuff, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, okay."
Give me a camera, I'll cry. If I want to cry, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, but the boys, it took longer, you know. And I saw Uguti. What was missing in the boys' lives was a father figure. You know, a lot of the kids who were in my youth group came from single parent homes, so there wasn't anybody to kind of model a lot of things. So they were not used to Uguti. Hi man, my dad, I can cry, and my dad can still be my dad, but still be loving and listen to me. They didn't know how to do that. But what I slowly discovered was, once they established trust, because I think with men, it just takes a little longer to kind of establish trust, because it's like, no, I can't just say things.
I don't know you like that.
I must just make sure you are here. You are not just coming and going.
Yes.
You're staying. So I think once they saw Uguti, okay, Chin is not going anywhere. He's here. And once they saw Uguti is invested in what he's doing, and he's not here because he's getting paid to be here. He's actually here because he wants to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he really cares about young people and what we are going through as young people. Then the boys started to kind of like, amen.
So for you guys, it requires all the things that you just mentioned. Commitment, being trustworthy, showing that you really care about me, and then maybe I can open up.
I think this is for just the young people. I think for grown men, it's seeing other guys do it. As a grown man is seeing it being okay to do it. Because as a grown up, what I've seen,
you need that validation stamp.
We can do this, you know. And I think Nami took a while for me to be able to do that, until I went to some men's group things, and then some guy that I knew, you know, and he was like, suddenly he just broke down and was like,
you're like, brother,
guys,
if you do this,
I'm struggling financially. I can't afford the BMW that I'm driving, even my wife's car. I can't afford the payments. You know, I lost my job, and my wife's practice is struggling. Just as soon as he said that, I was like, wow. At first I was like, this is a lot, but then I saw what then happened around him. How the guys reacted to that. It was almost like everybody was like, me too. It was like a Me Too thing that came out. How? And then one guy was like, I'm struggling, guys, with lust. And he was like, hey, my guy, you're married, Pella. We know
you can't say such things.
Now you're sitting here telling us you're struggling with looking at women at church. And this is church, guys. And they're saying all these things. And before you know it, it became like okay. It's okay. So it's not just me. There's a lot of guys who are going through it. So I think men don't speak because they think men don't speak.
It's only
men don't speak because they think men don't speak.
I like what you were saying. For young boys, it's a different story. Establish the trust, be consistent, and then we can have a conversation.
The father figure. Male role model. Who cares? Then I can talk. With the grown-ups, it's a different conversation. They want to get that validation that this is okay. That it happens.
It happens to everyone.
That's what men
I know
want.
the kind of pressure that men go through is unexplainable. And one of those pressures would be the standards that we've set up for men. So if we could change the standard into this is okay, putting a stem to breaking down now and again in a place where you feel like it's safe, you're going to be helped, is okay, then we can break this barrier. Because for the longest of time, I've always didn't understand that how can there be such a gap? If we are saying we're building a better society, why are we only training the girls? We are training her to be this great woman, but not to who? Because the person that she's going to be partnering with in this life journey doesn't have that training. So she can be the best woman on earth, and because and then she gets there, she's like, all this training for what? So I always felt like there shouldn't be a gap. Training should be balanced on both sides. And thank you so much for sharing your tools in terms of how we can do that. So you've worked with the young boys,
the men women every now and then.
Yes, that's good. We are one society, guys. We need to help each other.
Just teaching more about who we are and how we think. Sometimes we say, hey, sometimes when a man does this, does not necessarily mean that. It means this. And you know, and these are the vulnerable bits about us. You know, and these are our strengths, and you know what I mean. So
I think it's very powerful to be someone to work with everyone, because I know a lot of people who would struggle to work with young boys and be okay with working with men, or vice versa, and with women. But I like what you said when we started this part of the conversation. You said you became the patient.
Oh yeah.
And then from you being the patient and working on yourself, it allowed you to be able to help all these other people.
Yeah.
I believe that most people who are, I would say, speakers and coaches, some of them really struggle. There's even a saying in isiZulu that inyanga ayizilaphi. People struggle to take their own advice, to take their own help. And you are sitting here, you are saying, I was my first patient.
Oh yeah.
And me being okay, it managed to help me, and I was able to help others.
Exactly.
A lot of people are out there trying the very best that they can to help other people, not realizing that the only person that you're responsible for helping is yourself. And through helping yourself, then you'll be able to help other people.
Because sometimes what people need to see is you managing yourself well, and dealing with your problems, and the way that you deal, and they look and they say, oh, how can I apply this in my life? I can relate to that. I can relate to that, instead of, you know. And I didn't arrive there just from the get-go. I went through that space of trying to see what is needed in the world, where the gaps are, and you know what I mean, which group of people should I be focusing on, and all this stuff. I did that for many years. And it was only later when I was like, wait a minute, just focus here. Do this person, because there's a lot of you. You're not the only one in this world who's going through what you're going through. And as the saying says about the inyanga, is because a lot of people think, I'm fine, I just want to fix
other people.
When I realized that, no, I'm not. This is a daily thing. I'm the patient also here. On a daily basis. So I'm going to talk about how I treat this patient on a daily, because there's things that come every now and then.
And the solutions that I find in treating this patient could be the solutions that the group of people going through what I'm going through need.
Exactly. And people are creative. They know how to listen to how you are solving something, and they say, oh, I can use that to solve this thing. Actually, which does not actually seem related, but people make correlations with what you are saying. So if you focus on you, because it comes out very powerfully when you speak about what you were thinking at that moment when you were going through this, and being very real with it. You know, that guy used to get to me so much because there's something in me that he was triggering. Every time I have issues with people, it's always something in me. I go there and I go and look with it. What is it about him that's making you feel? And
you find that you're feeling like that because you're seeing so much of yourself in that person, and you're just like, I don't really hate you. I am you. You're triggering things. You're touching places. You're reminding me of opportunities that I missed. And all of those things.
You are showing me a version of me that I also want to catch on to. I'm seeing something about you that you are doing so well that I'm still struggling to get right. And you are doing, and it's just,
and you're doing it so well.
Yes, so it's like
frustration.
So once you get to a point where you can say that, it just brings the power back. It's start here. Start here, and then you are going to help people by doing that. By helping yourself. Help. Two things in one. Help yourself.
It's a two things in one project, guys. Help yourself. In that way, you'll be helping others.
Tell people what you are doing to help yourself.
To help yourself. And it's not something that you have to create. It's not content creation here.
No.
You're gonna show the way that you are, the results of the things that you are talking about. If you're talking about how I'm dealing with the anger and I've seen how it works in my life, we're gonna see that this person is less angry. Oh, there's more smiling in that face. And then now I'm gonna be interested in knowing. Abantu bakholwa ngokubona. That's what we say. That people will only believe it by seeing it.
And that's what I wanted to make the point. Make sure it's working.
It's working
for you.
Yeah.
Before you say it as a solution.
Yeah.
Make sure I know how to get myself out of a rage.
Yeah.
I know I have tools that really genuinely gets me out of the rage. Then you can talk about it.
Yeah. So if I'm giving you how to start a business tools, I know that they work. I started my business with these tools, and this is where my business is.
It's not textbook, it's experience.
It's experience. There's
so
only
powerful.
so much we can do with textbook.
No, absolutely.
Experience these days, it's what we are working with. And today I am chatting to someone, and we're literally just talking about his experiences and how his experiences have changed and helped other people's lives. Helped himself, and eventually was able to help other people. In one of our conversations, you mentioned that you've also worked in prisons.
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit about that. Let me tell you, I've always hoped and wondered how that project is like. Me, for example, I've never been to a prison. Thank God. South Africa these days. I've never been to a prison, whether to visit someone or they're charged with something myself. So for me, it's that very scary place. And I know there's so many people in there that need the empowerment, that need the motivation, and that need someone to listen to them, like you said earlier on.
Yeah, that's another thing that in the past I used to say it was accidental. Uguti, for the longest time, I got the invite to come because I was doing youth work.
Yes.
I got the invite to no man, come to the juvenile section and just see what we are doing. And I was like, I'm not walking into prison. I spent my whole life staying out
of prison. Now you
want
me to go there voluntarily.
And there's always the fear. I don't know why I had that irrational fear. As soon as I walk in, somebody would look at me and go, "You, 10 years ago, actually we should lock you up." You know what I mean?
You should be a part of these people.
I was naughty at some point, but not doing anything illegal, but something in yourself.
You start doubting, was it really not?
Exactly.
Was it legal?
Exactly. And you start thinking of when you were like 5, and you stole a sweet at a shop, and you're like, they'll bring it back. So I think it had to happen for me.
Yeah.
When I look back now, and after I used all these tools to kind of look back at my life and actually see things that I thought were random, no, they were not really random. I placed myself strategically without knowing in places where that was bound to happen. So it was just a natural progression of where I was with my life. If I'm working with youth and they're having issues at Kaya, and then issues in their community, you know what I mean? And then issues with drugs.
Yes.
It's going to be linked to prison. Somehow. Then you're going to see it's at home, community, prison, it's all that, drugs. It's all one thing. So it was going there eventually.
Yes.
And that's how it happened with me. I got the invite and then I went in. And just day one, I was like still looking around. Like, is there someone looking at me?
It's not me.
But after 15 minutes, I forgot that I was in prison. Because then the youth leader coach kicked in. And I was just surrounded by young kids, and they were just so excited that people from outside were there. Yeah, and then I think it's their demeanor that was like, wow, there's actually nice people in here. Like, wow.
You are nicer than some of the people out there.
Exactly.
Or you should know.
Exactly. So talented people. So the more I went in prison, and at first for me it was just curiosity. I just want to see, because my idea of prison was Oz. Yes. I don't know if you know that TV show. It's
I've
scary.
heard about it. I've never watched.
It's scary. So that was prison to me. So every time I was like, hey, anything can happen here. But as time went, the more comfortable I got, the more I just did my thing. Because what I did in prison was sports, because that was my thing, let's do that. Let me coach boxing.
Yes.
And they used to give me all the really angry kids, and they said they will come to your class because they need to let
the steam out
and
one
then,
or another.
And then it was a couple of weeks later when one of the wardens came and said, hey, this thing you do when you come here, it's working. Some of the kids that were very bad and very angry, they are much better now because of this class that you're doing. I was like, how? No, I thought I was just coming and goofing around
with them,
there were real teachers who were coming to prison and teaching real things. And then I found a bit of my purpose. I was like, Kanti, anything can be used in this world about you as a person.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be, you don't need an MBA to make an impact.
You don't need to go to space and then come back with this amazing story.
No, it's just you. When you are just telling your story, because sometimes I'll tell stories of just my own things outside.
Yes.
And somebody will be like, 2 weeks ago, Chin, when you were sharing that story about this, and it's like, I've been thinking about it for the past 2 weeks, and it was so powerful. And you sit there like, what? I was just telling a story.
I think for me it's that audacity of your story.
Yes.
It's not created. It's not like you're being a creative director trying to create this movie. You're sharing like a genuine experience.
Exactly.
And it goes back to what you said earlier on, that whatever it is that you are going through, you're not the only one going through it.
Speak about it.
Speak about it. There's power in you speaking about it. And the solution or the chain breaking part of what you are going through and how you are finding it could be the same thing that the other person is waiting for.
Exactly.
So don't be selfish with your story.
Yes.
Don't be selfish with your journey.
Yes.
What God is taking you through, there's a reason. And there's this thing that we always learn at church, that our blessings are in other people's hands. God is not going to come from heaven and give it to you.
Yeah.
It's going to come through another person. So if you're being selfish with your knowledge and your experiences, you could be blocking your blessing. This blessing you are praying for so hard could be in you just sharing your story with someone, and through that, the blessing that that person holds for you is released. We are in this world and we are all just trying to figure out life together. So there's no shame in how we are doing it. There's no shame in how you are doing it. Definitely no shame on how you are doing it. It's teaching people.
No, not at all.
So you have to put yourself out there. And for you to just share your story like that in a prison and it sparks something in someone, it's ironically, we'll say, even in the worst places.
Yes.
It can still give off that very same power.
And that's why I grew the most during that time when I was doing prison ministry, because I learned how to also tell my story.
Yes.
Because I had a story, obviously, Nami, of trauma.
Yes.
I could not share for a long time. But prison ministry helped me because I was listening to people sharing stories, and I was like, oh, a lot of these guys went through what I went through. And I was like, oh, and they're sharing it, and I was
it's
like,
okay.
And one day, I don't know, I was like, let me just try to say this thing.
Yes.
And I was just, I shared it, and the way it was received, it felt like a safe place to share my story. And that gave me power, and this was all in prison ministry. Who would have thought?
Wow. Who would have thought that's where you discovered that?
Even the power to forgive the people that I was struggling to forgive in my life. I was able to do that through prison ministry, because I had to sit with people who did horrible things. People I used to judge before, because prison for me was filled with people who were just horrible.
Yeah.
So learning how to change that to like, hey, this guy killed 7 people, but you're sitting with him and you are seeing another side of him, and you're like, don't be quick to judge, Chin. So I learned that in prison, and that cultivated that spirit to forgive. Even the people who offended me throughout my life, that I was holding on to that, I hate you, you hurt me, you did this. I was able to like, you know what, actually, who knows what you were going through? You know what I mean?
Who knows what pushed you to even do
that? You know what? So I learned the power of forgiveness, and that opened up a whole new world for me in there, just interacting with the guys.
With the guys.
Yeah, and I learned, Uguti, the weakest things about you, or I don't know, what you see as negative, your power
lies right there.
The things I thought I was not good at, the things I didn't really like about myself, I realized how much power there was behind them. Because for ukuthi into ihlale as a islonda for so long, there's so much energy behind it. You know what I mean? So much potential behind it. And the day you flip the switch, all that power that was behind that thing, because it takes a lot of power to withhold something often weird, you know what I mean? And the day you just click, all that power comes rushing. Now suddenly all the things that were a burden in my life, now I'm like,
easy,
doable. For so long, for so many years, I've been quiet. I've been the quiet guy.
And look at what the quiet guy
I had so much in me.
Yes,
I had so much in me.
with you.
And this thing that I thought was my weakness, Kanti, there's so much power in this thing.
That's
you know
what
I mean?
makes me me.
My pain is the one that made me able to look at some of the worst things about people and forgive. You know what I mean? So all the things to me that were such a disadvantage
became advantages.
Yes, and I was able to walk with people who a lot of people didn't want anything to do with. So I was like, oh yeah, why am I thriving here? And I was like, there's a lot of people in the world who want nothing to do with people who've done these things. But I'm able to do it because of the pain that I've experienced in life. So what used to be a burden, a painful thing,
it's becoming
enabled me to be able to walk with people who had experienced a lot of pain. You know, so I was able to, when guys came out of prison, take them into my home, and people like, these people killed people.
When
Why
you
are they
wake
in your
up, nothing
house?
is gonna be in your house.
And nothing happened. Nothing happened. Yeah, one or two maybe would steal something, but they would confess later. Shit, I took 50 rand from you. You know what I mean? But as far as doing anything to me, never. And those guys would have done anything to protect me, which I didn't even know. You know, and even in prison, they said to me, Mr Tshin, you know, when you are here, I used to teach a group of like 40 guys, and I eventually got to maximum security prison. So I was dealing with adults, grown people, like people who've done things that are like, wow, people who are serving a life, like those guys. And one day, this one guy said, because sometimes they'll bring new guys, you know, so I had my regulars. And one day this guy said, you know what, Jim, this is the safest place for you. If 10 guys were to walk in here and they tried anything, actually there's 30 of us in here. We will be on them in 5 seconds. So I was like, oh wow.
Probably your safest place.
Yeah, and I never realized how safe I was in prison. So when people outside would ask me, dude, you're going to maximum security.
How are you going to
There's all these gangsters who come to your class and sometimes they're looking at you. Because I used to say things that were very provocative. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, the scariest guy in here, the most, what guy is actually the most scared guy? You know what I mean? Insecurity is very dangerous.
It is.
You know what I mean? Somebody who's secure and sure of himself, he doesn't need to prove anything.
They'll be
He's chilling, he doesn't care.
I know, I'm okay.
The one who's dangerous is that guy who has a lot to prove. And some of these gangsters who were feared in prison be like, I don't like what you're saying. And I was safe.
You're taking away my power here.
So the irony of feeling so safe there, like people will be like, oh, wow, that's actually quite interesting.
Makes sense.
So a lot of things happened in prison that were, you know, were unexpected.
I get
so
you.
It's the things that you think are whatever that turn out to be like, oh my word.
This is the life-changing.
Same with you and your things in your life. If you go back to the things that do this to you, you'll find treasure.
In those things.
In those things, you know.
That is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing all of this knowledge. We can go on.
For the whole day.
We can go on for the whole day, but I'm just grateful that we've managed to share this information. I really hope that someone who comes across this conversation really understands what we are saying here, and be reminded that the true value is you. It's in you in every possible way. If you are keen on helping people, help yourself first. That's how you're going to help people. If you want to grow your network of people that you want to help, just help you, and then the rest will just fall into place like that. I saw something very powerful. This is going to be our closing chat. I saw something very powerful on your website. I'm not sure if I'm going to quote it right, but it was a quote that says, what you do with the information and the knowledge that you have
is everything.
Is everything.
Yeah.
So it's not about all this knowledge coming in.
Oh yeah.
We can shower you with knowledge for days.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be written knowledge all around.
Yes. Oh yes.
The power is in what you do with that
With
knowledge.
what you know. It's, when I was in church, as you said that, actually my wife, because I was so insecure because I was not the Bible reader every day.
You don't know
people
scriptures.
who can quote all kinds of things, and I was like, I just know a few things in the Bible. And she said, you use powerfully what you know, Wena.
Yes.
You know how to use the little that you know
Yes.
of the Bible, and you can do something so powerful. Even that could be more powerful than somebody who's very knowledgeable.
I love that.
And then I was like, oh, it's what you do
with what you know. Yeah.
That has the power.
So it's not about quoting all the scriptures.
No, it's not about
What
a
are you
degree.
doing?
It's not about anything. It's not
Yes.
about being great at something. What
are you doing with
what you have?
know?
Because
If you feel what you have is so little, what are you doing with the little that you have?
Because
If
all
you
is
feel
there.
what you have is so much, what are you doing with the so much that you have?
Exactly.
That's
the
basically
answers
what
are always
we're
there.
saying.
The answers are always there. They're always around you. Whatever it is that you need to do, wherever it is that you need to go, the very first initial steps to that are always right there. They're
With
never, they're always right there.
where you are.
Exactly where you are. Not
Are
even-
those our last remarks, or is there anything that you want to leave us with?
Oh wow, there's so much. Wow, no, I think for today,
For today.
we can do more, but I think what I would leave people with is that you are the power that you are after.
Yes.
I think if people can just realize that
God,
Uti,
you are the
power that you are after.
That you are after.
Yes, you are the beauty that you are looking for. Because for
beauty that
Ubuti,
you're looking
for you to be able to see that something is beautiful, something is powerful, it needs to first come from your head office.
Yeah.
Because no two people see the same thing the
Same way.
So the fact that you are seeing it different, it means it's coming from your head office. So you are the power. You are the power that you are.
And this goes in every department of your life.
Oh yeah.
You are the business person that you are looking for.
Absolutely.
You are the kind
opportunity.
person you are looking for, the opportunity
that you want.
in everything.
You are the brand.
You are the brand.
You are the product. You are everything.
It's you
are
that we
it.
are paying for. You are it.
You are it.
Because that's very deep in a sense that because once you are no longer there, it's done. It's the end. So all these other things are external and you are the prize.
You are it.
Thank you so much, Chin. Oh my God, I'm so happy we had this conversation. Guys, we're gonna go through this conversation again from beginning to end. Take your time, grab tea, do it in a time where you actually feel like, listen, I have the time, because you have to hear every single word that was shared in this conversation. If ever you are passing through and you're just catching the last bits, he is saying you are the power that you are looking for.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Chin, for
Thank
your
you
time.
for having me. This
All
was
the
fun.
best. It's so much
This
fun,
was
right?
fun. This was fun. I love
All
this.
the best in your business. I pray that God blesses it, increases it, and as you continue to help you, more people are helped and the clientele grows.
Thank you.
I really believe that what you're doing is amazing, and it takes God and your commitment to get it to a level where you want it to be. So thank you very much for joining us in conversation with. Please say thank you to your wife for me. I really appreciate the knowledge she is impacting in your head.
Yeah. She's one of the people you should interview one day.
Please bring her to me.
Yeah.
Bring her to me. I love it when there's a teamwork and it's working very well, and a family is built, partnership is built, things are just growing. Just a bit on my relationship. Like, guys, we are so old, we are so tired. Look, oh my God. we're just looking for partners, people we're gonna tackle this life thing with. So it's beautiful to see when someone is sharing their story and they're talking about something close to their heart, and they're like, yeah, and my wife, you know, she did this, she added this, and oh, my husband, you know, oh, my partner. It's very important. It's tiring to hear people complaining about umjolo. That's why for me, I always say there's a difference between dating and umjola. So those are two big different topics altogether. So I'm happy to see that you're in a space where partnership is valued.
Absolutely.
And you guys can conquer anything.
Absolutely. There's a quote by Andy Stanley. He said to me, and I think this is what got me the wife that I have. He said, are you the person that the person you are looking for is looking for?
I've seen it
so
before. That
just said, oh wow, this dream woman of mine, what kind of guy is she looking for? Let me
guys,
be that.
As we go, we are solving your mjolo question.
Be the person.
Are you the person that the person you're looking for is looking for? Thank you guys, and thank you, Tshin.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
And thank you, Unanti.